Hello, hello. Today let's talk about your brake system on your Audi A4 and S4 Avant because they are really important. If you have new brake pads, then you do not give a full braking effect for the first 40 kilometers. They must first be bedded in. However, you can compensate for the slightly reduced braking effect by applying more pressure on the brake pedal. Avoid placing a heavy load on the brakes during the running in period. Or you can have the wear. The rate of the wear on the brake pads depends a great deal on how you drive and conditions in which the vehicle is operated. Negative factors are, for example, city traffic, frequent short trips, or hard driving with abrupt starts and stops on the track, for example. And noises. Brake noises may develop in certain situations, depending on the speed, braking force, and, of course, the ambient conditions, such as the temperature and relative humidity. And if you are on red roads or road salt, in certain conditions, such as in heavy rain or after washing the car or driving through water, the full braking effect can be delayed by moisture or in winter by ice. On the discs and on the brake pads, the brakes should be dried by pressing the pedal to restore the full braking effect. When we are driving at a high speed with the windscreen wipers on, the brake pads are very briefly brought into contact with the brake disc. This automatic process, which goes unnoticed by the drivers, is carried out at regular intervals and is intended to improve braking response in wet conditions. And the effectiveness of the brakes can also be temporarily reduced if the car is driven for some distance without using the brakes when there is a lot of salt on the road in the wintertime. The layer of salt that accumulates on the disc and pads can be removed with a few cautious brake applications. And of course, corrosion. There may be a tendency for dirt to build up on the brake pads and corrosion to form on the discs if the car is used infrequently, or if you only drive low mileage without using the brakes very much. If the brakes are not used frequently, or if corrosion has formed on the disc, it is advisable to clean off the pads and discs by braking firmly a few times from a moderate high speed. And faults in the brake system. If the brake pedal travel should ever increase suddenly, this may mean that one of the two brake circuits has failed. Drive immediately to the nearest qualified workshop and have a fault rectified. On the way to the dealer, be prepared to use more pressure on the brake pedal and all lower for a long stopping distance. Or you have low brake fluid level. This malfunction can occur in the brake system. If the brake fluid level is too low, the brake fluid level is monitored electronically. And we have a brake servo. The brake servo amplifies the pressure we apply to the brake pedal. And of course, if you have ceramic brakes, provide excellent braking performance. When new ceramic brakes, this can take much longer to bed into normal brake discs. In addition, the noises may occur at low speed due to the properties of the material. Ceramic brake discs absorb more moisture in extremely wet weather. This can cause a temporary reduction in braking performance in comparison to dry brakes. We can compensate for these applying a greater pressure on the brake. When applying the brakes to clean off the position of the pads and discs, we select a clear, dry road. We should be sure not to inconvenience or endanger other road users. We do not risk an accident, of course. We never let the car coast with the engine switched off. This can cause an accident. And never let the brakes drag by leaving your foot on the pedal when we do not really intend to brake. These overheat the brakes, resulting on longer stopping distance and greater wear. Before driving down a long steep gradient, it is advisable to reduce the speed and select the lower gear. In this way, you will make use of the engine brake effect and relieve the load on the brakes. If you still have to use the brakes, it is better to brake firmly in the intervals than to apply the braking continuously, of course. So, this is the main brake facts about your Audi A4 and S4 Avant. I hope you can use this for a better and safer driving every day. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe me and give me a positive feedback, and I hope to see you again on my channel. Soon.